Hey yo, what's up guys? John Boogle here. Here we are, we're gonna be pushing to UC, but I accidentally already pushed to UC and I forgot to record, so let's just go through the match replays. Okay, so this first match, okay, it was against this weird balloon deck. I think we lost this game. Of course, the deck I'm using is the Golem deck that's been going around. Pretty cool. That Golem is making a comeback because in the OG days, my main deck was definitely Golem. Yeah, so this game I played pretty horribly because at this point I didn't know, yeah, he had rockets, so there we go. Or which gets rocketed there. But he had no decent small spell to deal with the minions, so I could have easily won this match here. He doesn't have Evo Zap, so Zap won't kill the minions. All I had to do is just wait for the balloon and then just do a counter push, which I think we did do, but at that point, I think he cycled to his Evos. We already know how busted Evo Valk is, could shut down a whole push. So yeah, looking back, I could have won this match if I just pushed a bit earlier before Evo Valk was in cycle. Here we get some nice machine damage. We'll take it. At this point, I was ready for my push. I cycled my Evos already. All I had to do is just wait for that balloon and then it'll be go time. Or I could just completely ignore it and try to sack a tower and do a tower trade. I think this is when I realized, yeah, he did not have Evo Witch. So the game plan changed because I knew Evo Valk was coming up soon. So I had to make something happen here and decided to just take this damage here and start building up my push. I definitely could have just went with a bar barrel minions, take out the balloon, take less damage, but I decided to just take some damage here, start building up my push. Also, I totally forgot that he had rocket, by the way, but if we don't get the tower or a huge damage lead here, it's cooked because he's gonna have Evo Valk next and Evo Tesla, so yeah, it wasn't looking pretty good here. Golem got cooked very early. Evo Witch is almost dead. Our push is all dead. We have no Evos for the next Golem push. I forget what happens next here. I think I just start to try to pressure so he doesn't just go in. Yeah, I just go in because I had to cycle minions already, which, looking back, I probably should have cycled my minions. Yeah, it wasn't worth the few chip damage there. Yeah, there we go. I forgot he had rocket as well. Yeah, this match was just cooked. Horrible, horrible match here. Yeah, he has both of his Evos. It's over. It's pretty much over here. This was a very winnable game, but it's only the first game. First game on here on this final push to UC. So I wasn't too discouraged by this loss. Yeah, at this point he could just start rocket cycling and it's over. Oh, wait, Zap does 75 damage, right? Yeah, takes tower. Yep, that was game one. First game is an L, but it's only the first game. We start cooking eventually. Let's hop into the next match. All right, this match, I think this is the one with the nonsense P.E.K.K.A deck. I think this match shows really that if you just grind enough, you could push up to UC pretty easily, even with nonsense. Because I'm not that good for being a UC player. Oh yeah, this guy. I think this is the one where he misses his rocket. Yeah, of course I had to capitalize on this and start playing a bit aggressive here. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm not that good for being a UC player. You'd expect, you know, all UC players are somewhat great at the game. What, it's only been 3 months back of me playing this game and I hit UC, what, 2 seasons ago with some nonsense MK Hog deck. That was, yeah, that was the time that's the first time I hit UC on this account. And of course, I didn't play ranked on my OG account at all, I don't think. But of course, I was in Legendary Arena, the OG Legendary Arena, the real OG one, which was at like, what, 3K trophies? So yeah, I just grinded the last season. I didn't grind at all because it was just a horrible meta, just AIDS in a can meta. Furnace, Evo, Spirit Empress, Goblin Giant, P.E.K.K.A every single minute. This isn't actually my main deck on this account. I only started playing this deck at Royal Champ, and I played it in Trophy Road as well to 15k, but Trophy Road is just full nonsense anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I was running this deck with an underleveled bar barrel and mostly level 14s until finally I decided to upgrade the rest of the deck. And then this is the final push you're seeing here to UC. Also, what the nonsense is this deck, bruh? Goblin Stein P.E.K.K.A. But yeah, the deck I've been trying to master on this new fresh run of Clash. I've been using AQ Piggies. That's what I use to mostly push up to this point. But up here, I don't think I'm that well enough to use that deck here. And you face just so much nonsense. It is so hard to play that deck against all of this nonsense. But yeah, this match is pretty much over. This guy had P.E.K.K.A. and Fisherman, but still couldn't win against the Golem. Yep, look at that speedy P.E.K.K.A. running down the lane, bro. All right, that was game 2. We take the win here. Easy win, though it was a pretty bad matchup against P.E.K.K.A. and Fisherman. All right, against Neem here. And yes, this Hog EQ deck, not with Mighty Miner, thankfully, because I've been running into the Mighty Miner variant of this deck, and Golem just gets steamrolled because Mighty Miner just hard counters Golem, and we have no way to stop the Hog unless we get a perfect P.E.K.K.A. placement every time. So yeah, a lot of my early matches I played in Royal Champ, I was facing a lot of Mighty Miners, so it was just loss after loss. Of course, when I switched to a Golem deck, we run into Mighty Miner every single game. It's that rigged matchmaking, bruh, I swear. And then when I play AQ Piggies, we run into like Mega Knight, Evo Valk nonsense, or Graveyard, which is very hard matchup for AQ Piggies. We played Graveyard not that much in these last few matches. I don't think at all. But prior to this, we played Graveyard like every single time I got on. Graveyard is just a really strong deck right now. That lockdown defense, Goblin Hut, Ice Wizard, and then it's just the broken Graveyard offense. But yeah, this match, this was very winnable for me because he didn't have Mighty Miner. So that was my one saving grace. No Mighty Miner means I could push, I could build up a push and not have to worry about getting counter pushed. Of course, typical Golem plays here. Just tank the damage and focus on your push. That's just something I've picked up from playing Golem in the early days with the whole Golem Night Witch era. You never want to play too much defense, otherwise you're just going to be getting puppeteered around, especially against things like bait, which we played a few times in these final matches here. Also, this Evo Firecracker was cooking us. We didn't have our Vines in rotation. Evo Witch still staying alive there, getting some nice damage. I didn't want to use Vines yet in case he goes for a Night Hog at the bridge or something. So I kind of played patient here, waited it out, but he just went with a solo Hog. Decided to Vines anyway, just to make sure I take no damage. I do want to kind of force out a cannon here, so this is perfect if he does place a cannon down. I know he doesn't have Hog in cycles, so I'm just going to start building up the next push. Yeah, he doesn't decide to go for a cannon, but P.E.K.K.A. at level 16 gets a sneaky hit in there. Goes Firecracker at the bridge to try to sneak some damage in here. Of course, we can't really stop the Hog here, so no point in overspending to try and defend it. So we just go all in instead. Yep, and there's the Evo Cracker, of course. Was saving Vines for that. Now we can just play hyper aggressive and just go for the 3 crown here. Yep, mini P.E.K.K.A. The GOAT. No, he does have Evo Cannon. Do we get a 3 count here? I don't remember. I don't think we do. I think we just reset and just start building up our next push. Yeah, Evo Cannon is gone, so we just go Golem at the bridge straight away. This guy didn't give up though, so it was a pretty lengthy match. I think he did sell pretty hard though, because I think he just started going for Hogs at the King Tower for some reason. I don't know what the game plan is there, but maybe it's something I can't really see, but in a second here you'll see. He'll just randomly start going for Hog at the King Tower. I think his game plan was to just play ultra defensive and then just try to chip down the King Tower as much as possible, but we're just gonna use P.E.K.K.A. for the Hog every single time. Yeah, maybe it gets a hit or 2 sometimes. If I placed P.E.K.K.A. perfectly there, it would have got 0 hits, but I don't think he has time to recycle Hogs on the King Tower every single time, especially when we're putting so much pressure at the bridge. And that P.E.K.K.A. is still alive there on the right. I think it does get a hit on the King Tower. And here we go. It's going to be another Hog push at the King Tower. Yeah, this time with Knight, which is better than last time, but still, it's not going to do much. But he does use his Evo Cannon. We're getting a lot of damage on the tower. Yeah, this time it's pretty much over because if we Golem in the pocket, if he brings it to the King Tower, he's cooked. If he brings it to his Princess Tower, he's cooked. Either way, he's cooked here. And P.E.K.K.A. gets another hit on the King Tower there. Yeah, I just decide to golem in the pocket at this point. And yeah, there we go. He gives up. He knows it's over. But he didn't fully give up because that P.E.K.K.A would have made it to the King Tower and we would have 3-crowned. But he placed his skeletons last second to avoid the 3-crown. But there we go. Let's hop into the next match. So you thought the nonsense was gone? Well, you are wrong because we got some full nonsense here right now. I don't think this is actually a full nonsense deck. It is a pretty high up deck, that MK Wallbreakers deck. Also, ignore that bar barrel there. I swear that was drop delay getting out of hand these days, bruh. I swear. Here we go already with the nonsense. Just a prince in the opposite lane. At this point, I didn't know what in the world his deck was. I didn't know what he was using. I was thinking maybe a homemade bridge spam deck, but then I saw Archer Queen. I'm like, wait, what? And then Wallbreakers. I'm like, huh? What is this deck, bruh? I didn't know until the moment the Mega Knight dropped, of course. That's an advantage a lot of people have over me here is because I've only been playing for, what, 90 days? And it's been so long that I've missed, like, so many metas. I don't know any of the decks, so I had no clue this was the Mega Knight Wallbreakers deck. Golem does get cooked by Evo Mega Knight pretty hard because it could just endlessly knock back the Golem over and over again, and you're never touching the tower. So I did have to try to catch him without his Evo Mega Knight in hand. Luckily, he didn't place his Mega Knight at all this match yet, so I didn't know he had it, and he didn't have his Evo up, so it was a win for me here. But I decided, yeah, sack the left tower. No point in defending that. Let's push while he doesn't have his Evos, which I didn't know what his final card was or what his Evo was, but then boom, yep, the Mega Knight drops and I'm like, oh brother, of course. At this point I'm all in now because now I know he has Evo Mega Knight and that just hard counters Golem, so I gotta make sure to keep the pressure up here. What I'm gonna do is just go for the 3-crown, try to ignore everything. He does go for a bandits and bats last second here, but we're able to get the 3-crown before him, and thankfully we didn't see Evo MK that game. All right, on into the next game. Oh, and this is, I think, when our win streak comes to an end here. We're playing against, yep, of course, Goblin Giant P.E.K.K.A. But not only that, he has lightning as well. Yeah, complete hard counter here. Evo Witch gets completely destroyed. And of course, P.E.K.K.A just counters the Golem push completely. My only hope of winning this match was playing Golem in the opposite lane. But you'll see in a moment what happens here. I think we just sit here for like a whole minute just waiting until someone makes the first move. Yeah, there we go. Finally. Minute passes by and now we start to go. Yeah, he goes P.E.K.K.A in that lane, so I decide to play Golem opposite lane. At this point, I knew it's P.E.K.K.A Goblin Giant, so I just got to try to play opposite lane and do something, but yeah, if you notice, you can see his next card is Fisherman. So yeah, we had no hope from the beginning. I tried to do some last-minute defense here with the Witch, but the minions decided to get in front of the Witch, and Witch decided to target the P.E.K.K.A instead. Fisherman brings the Golem to the King Tower, and yeah, it's over. We just got completely hard countered. At this point, I didn't even know he had lightning as well. And then here we are. I think this is the moment where he finally reveals he has lightning. When I put my Evo Witch down, when it's pretty much already over here. Yeah, Vines on the tower. It's over. I put an Evo Witch down to just save myself from the 3-crown, but boom, there's the lightning. And yeah, damn. All good. All good. We finally take an L here. On to the next match. I think this is when our final stretch of wins begins. We're up against this full nonsense Hog Mega Knight deck here. This is also a horrible matchup as well because he has Evo Mega Knight, Lightning too. I have no idea what the random Skarmy is for. Bro thinks Evo Skarmy is out right now. So now I know he has some type of Hog deck, so I decide to play a bit more defensively in the beginning here, just try to cycle to my Evos first. But then, of course, I think this is when he reveals the lightning in a second here. Dart Gob at the bridge first. Yep, there's the lightning, and I'm like, okay. So we're running Hog Lightning. At this point, he's down a lot of elixir. I could just start building up a push here. And at this point as well, I did not know he had Mega Knight, so thankfully, I didn't know because I don't think I would have pushed if I knew, but if I didn't push here, I think I would have lost because then he would have cycled to the Evo and then it's all over. But yeah, we're about to see that drop in a second. Yeah, Evo MK and Evo Firecracker. The combo of mid-ladder. People think mid-ladder ends at some point, but nah, it stretches to 15k, past 15k, and even into UC. Alright, now I knew. Okay, this guy has the Evo Mega Knight. What the hell do I do now? So I did notice he had nothing for the minions, so definitely had to abuse those somehow. One thing I absolutely had to try and get down was cycling P.E.K.K.A for the Hog every single time to try to negate any damage from the Hog, because a perfectly placed P.E.K.K.A does full counter a Hog. Now we're just heading into double, so we just gotta prep for the Golem push. We also do have a sizable Elixir lead here. The goal here was to try and get the Evo MK off the board early so Golem doesn't just get sent flying back every single second, because it's crazy how Evo MK completely shuts down a Golem push. So if you get a nice Evo Witch sequence here and get some minions early on the MK, we should be good. Of course, we got vines for the Firecracker and the Dart, which he decided to group up here, which wasn't a great idea. Just infinite vines value here. So yeah, once that Firecracker was dead, it was go time for the minions, because we gotta take out that Evo MK quick. But seems like, yeah, God Machine and Witch were doing pretty okay. Our Golem is still alive, not in a healthy spot, but still alive, and we're able to get some damage on the tower there. I decided to play aggressive here since he doesn't have much other than, yeah, the bats. So yeah, we easily take that tower there, and yeah, we're set. He goes for a last minute Hog Firecracker at the bridge, but it's not going to be enough, and we take that pretty easy. Hog Firecracker with MK and Lightning. You can just never escape MK, bro. And yeah, after this is where the final stretch of wins started. And as you can see, we're against Expo here, so this is a free win for us. This opening play, yeah, was just a Tesla prepped at the bridge, so at this point I knew it was some type of siege deck. So I just decided to wait and just leak here. Just wait to see if he places the Expo, and he does. Then I could just play a Golem right into it, and we're pretty much set. The one thing I was fearful of here, if he had Tornado, he could have just Tornadoed the Golem away and got a lock on the tower. But he doesn't have Tornado, so we're good. I also didn't know what spells he had, so if he had Rocket, he definitely could have just played defensive the whole game and just Rocket cycled as well. And yeah, Expo got a lock there when the Golem split in half, which I didn't know could happen. So good to know for future reference to have something ready if the Golem does split. But here he's just cycling to his Evo Tesla. So we gotta make sure to get back to Golem pretty quick here, because Evo Tesla will shut down our push. Okay, at this point I knew, okay, yeah, Fireball doesn't have Rocket, we're safe. So yeah, unless we choke extremely hard, there was no way we could lose this matchup unless he plays like flawless defense and just cycles spells on the tower. But even with the double buildings, playing them defensively, it's still pretty hard to negate every single point of damage from a Golem push. So I was kind of hoping he would just go for an offensive Evo Tesla here, so he would waste it on his Expo, because that is the one thing that could completely shut down our push. And I think in a second here he does, yeah, places the Evo Tesla, and this was a green light from me. Okay, time to go Golem. He could still go Expo in the other lane, which I was ready for, even though I don't have my Elixir right now. But he doesn't have his Elixir either. Worst comes to worst, I could put a Witch or a mini P.E.K.K.A in the right lane just to tank the Expo for a bit. You have to make a choice here, either a defensive Expo or try to go on offense here. But yeah, with the Baby Dragon speed up Golem is on the tower there already, doing a lot of damage. So yeah, we're pretty good here. At this point, he's just setting up damage control, trying to build up his counter Expo push here. But we're going to be ready with another Golem pretty soon. And yeah, and there's the Expo. So we can just get ready to prepare our Golem, or I don't think we use Golem for this Expo at all. Evo Wish just takes it out with the help of Goblin Machine there, yeah. And we get rockets on the tower. Right here, I didn't actually know that we had such a huge Elixir advantage, but I didn't leak anyway, so it didn't matter. But if I knew if I didn't have an Elixir lead against Expo, I would have definitely waited till he placed the Expo, because yeah, he can just go opposite lane with an Expo, but we had a Witch ready, so we're good. We could just use minions to take the rest of it out. And at this point, this game is pretty much over. He has none of his buildings. Golem is about to get to the tower. Goblin Machine is full health. Yeah, and it's over. And the win streak continues here in this next game. We're playing against this new log bait deck that's been pretty popular and going around in top ladder a lot as well. It's a very oppressive deck with a strong defense with Evo Valk, of course. Evo Valk, just the perfect bailout defense card ever. I don't remember if this is the one with the vines as well, but if it is, it's going to be very tough to push through Evo Valk and vines. The one plus side here is he does have Cannoneers, so our witch can go to work on those Cannoneer towers. Which this is really weird. He doesn't have vines or a spell at all. So that just gives us free reign to build up a massive push. The ideal thing would be to try to build up a push in single elixir, because against this bait archetype, it just gets very oppressive in double. It becomes impossible to defend when you have those Evo barrels flying over and you just have the wall breakers behind the Valk running down the bridge. So I did have my Evos ready for the push here. So I just had to wait, and I did have to try to ignore some of the damage that might come, so I was prepared for that. And he's going to have Evo Valk up next, which is going to be very annoying. Yeah, I think this is where I decided to push in. Yeah, I just ignored this here. We play same lane here, try to get a nice big push in single. Since he has no spells, he doesn't have Evo Cannon either, which is kind of a sell. We can build up a pretty threatening push here. But of course, he has Evo Valk, which can just shut down the entire push. I definitely should have went for mini P.E.K.K.A here. I decided to go for minions to try and burst it down, but yeah, Evo Valk just targeting the air. Our witch stays alive, which is huge, and we get some huge damage because of that. Yeah, it goes into panic mode there. So now we're up and we're ready to build up our next push in double here. Playing same lane because we don't want him to just chip down our weaker tower. I know he had Evo Barrel just locked and loaded, so at any point I just had to wait and be prepared for that Evo Barrel push. I think he does go opposite lane here, yeah, with the wall breakers, but we decided to just ignore it and just go for the bar barrel to just clean up. He is trying to go for a tower trade here, but I do kind of defend here. Unfortunately, that Dart Goblin lives somehow, so we just trade towers right here, but he is way over pushing, so this was my chance to just set up for the next push. And he's gonna have Evo Valk up next as well, so I do have to watch out for that, which is overspending a lot on defense there. That Valk would have been enough. Now we have another golem prepped and ready, and we have our Evo Baby Drag here, and I'm waiting for that Evo Valk so I can just P.E.K.K.A it and get it out of the way. And here it comes. Boom, it drops down, gets immediately shredded by P.E.K.K.A. Now we have a mini P.E.K.K.A hauling ass towards the king tower, and this guy has no hope left. And it seems like, yeah, that ends up being the case. P.E.K.K.A is on the king tower and it's over. And here we go back into the full nonsense. This guy with his previous season UC badges here, playing full nonsense. Recruits with Skelly Barrel. What in the bridge spam recruits deck is this, bruh? But this should be an easy game for us. We do have Witch, we do have Baby Dragon, and he's running Evo Archers as well, which is odd. I'm guessing he doesn't have the Evo Skelly Barrel. But yeah, this should be a free win for us here. We have a lot of splash damage and counters for recruits. If it was the traditional recruits meta deck, it would have been a problem because those piggies would be hard to counter. But like Skelly Barrel, Bandit, this half bridge spam recruits deck, we should be able to sweep this pretty easily. So I was very confident in this game. Of course, I just decided to go golem straight away here. It doesn't have recruits in cycle yet. He tries to play a Skelly Barrel into the same lane of the golem, which I didn't think was a good idea. But yeah, he got back to archers. So at this point, I knew he does have his Evo recruits ready. There it is. But yeah, we're just going to Evo Baby Drag. Golem's going to get on the tower. One thing I should have done here is save vines for the Evo Archers, but we're good anyways here. We're on the tower. Baby Dragon is still full health here, cleaning up the recruits. Also, Skelly Dragons. Like, what the nonsense is this, bro? And he has to put down a bandit there just to tank some damage. And yeah, he's just giving us free elixir at this point. This is why the Dagger Dutches is so trash, because if you don't defend properly, you're going to have to overspend defending. because the tower is just sitting there staring at everything. I definitely could have defended better here, but I decided not to spend too much. I wanted to keep my elixir lead because if I play golem, this guy can definitely just play recruits at the bridge, which could be a problem. But I don't think this guy plays recruits at the bridge once, other than that one time with his Evo. Yeah, he plays recruits in the back here, so this just gives us another opportunity to build up another push again. He does have arrows for my minions, which I don't think he's played yet, so I think I decide not to risk it and just play my baby dragon in the right lane. Since it's not the Evo, we're not wasting an Evo there, but yeah, the Evo archers, one of them survived the vines. It targeted the Skelly Dragon, which is pretty unfortunate there. And that golem, through everything, almost gets an explosion damage on the tower, but it's still on the tower regardless. And yeah, this guy doesn't play the recruits at the bridge, so we just have another opportunity to just build up again. And I think this is when he... Oh, wow, he doesn't use arrows. Okay, so we just get the cheap defense on the right side there, and we're pretty set here for our golem push. So yeah, he still has not used arrows this entire game. We do take a lot of damage there from the goblin gang on the right side, but we're good here. It's unfortunate our baby dragon kind of got stuck in the middle there for so long. Our golem didn't get the speed up, so it wasn't able to get on the tower with the explosion damage, but we're just set for another push here because once again, he played recruits near the back and the middle, so it gives us more time to build up. And finally, there they are, the random arrows out of nowhere. So now I have free use of my minions. He doesn't have recruits in cycle. He's just going to Skelly Barrel the bridge, but I'm just going to use my minions because he just used his arrows. So that golem is just going to get a connection on the tower, and it is pretty much over here. Golem smacking the tower down, and that is the recruits nonsense gone. The win streak continues here. Our next matchup is another bait deck. This time it's the Rascals variant, which is much more annoying, but as you can see, no Evo Valk in sight, so we don't have to worry too much about our offense getting 0 damage. He had Evo Valk here with the vines. This would be a very annoying deck to face, but he has Evo Wall Breakers instead here, which is pretty broken in its own right. So now I know this guy is playing the bait deck. What I didn't expect here is the Royal Ghost, because there's just so many bait decks being made now, I can't keep up with all these variants. I have a choice here to use P.E.K.K.A. or Bar Barrel to defend this Ghost. It was kind of unexpected, so it took a while for me to decide there, but I finally go for the P.E.K.K.A. and it was a good choice because he just instantly goes Skelly Barrel. And if I used my Bar Barrel for the Ghost there, I definitely would have taken a lot of damage from that Skelly Barrel. But this is good. We can pretty much set up a same lane push here. We have yet to cycle to our Evos though, so it's kind of early to push in. So we're just going to keep playing a bit of defense here just to get to our Evos. The likely situation against these types of decks is once again to try to get a tower down in single, because it just becomes impossible to defend in double if you don't have a tower down. So here is the Rascals. I decide to just cycle the Evo Witch, get to the Evo here. If he plays Skelly Barrel, that Witch will counter it as well, but he goes for the Barrel in the other lane. And we don't really have much for this, so we have to cycle a Goblin Machine and get to our Bar Barrel for that, so we have to overspend there. And that's why it's going to be very difficult to defend in double, because he can just out-cycle us and just keep spamming, and we won't have any of our decent spells in cycle to defend the Skelly Barrel or the Wall Breakers and the Dark Goblin. Then we just get oppressively pushed. This was a sell right here though, just a random Evo Dark Gob at the bridge. I'm guessing he wanted to try to take the tower, but we keep it alive there and we're building up our push here. We're gonna ignore this because unfortunately we couldn't build up our push in single, so we're just gonna have to pray we have a solid enough defense. Yeah, and here comes the spam. He's just gonna keep playing opposite lane as much as he can and try to pester the other lane, but we're already building up our massive push here. He doesn't have a building, so Golem is just gonna get a free connection onto the tower with our baby dragon speed up here. The only thing I was worried about was a Skelly Barrel in the other lane, but he didn't have it in cycle. And yeah, we just vines on the towers. He vines our baby dragon, but we're safe. Since he just vines, we're safe to play minions as well to defend that barrel, and we could save the Bar Barrel for the Wall Breakers. And yeah, that is a GG right there. Super annoying bait deck, and that's another bait deck down on this streak. And here we are right back to the nonsense. Firecracker, Mega Knight. Thankfully this time this guy doesn't have lightning, because that would have been very difficult to play against. Instead he has the arrows and log Guessing this guy had a bad day against bait, which we did play a lot of in this final push to UC here. And yeah, Bravian just puts a Mega Knight at the bridge. It's kind of awkward though because our mini P.E.K.K.A was so far away in our cycle, but we're able to just defend with a Goblin Machine here. We are down Elixir though, but now I know there's a chance this guy's running Hog MK, so I might have to save the mini P.E.K.K.A for the Hog. This guy decides to play Tesla instead of the Knight, which is pretty great for us because yeah, we get a rocket connection there, but this gives us free reign to get a golem push going as well. If we decide to do it, do we decide to do it? Let's see, because he is going to have Evo MK. Okay, yeah, we just decide to cycle to the Evo first. Maybe we try to bait out that Evo MK. This guy is yet to play Hog, but I'm still holding on to that mini P.E.K.K.A in case he does. I have a choice here to save the vines or use it for this Firecracker, because he is going to have Evo Firecracker coming up soon, but yeah, I decided to use the vines here because he's going to have to defend that witch, and yeah, he wastes his Evo MK. Goes all in right here, and we're just able to defend here with mini P.E.K.K.A. He can go Hog here, but he has no Elixir left. But yeah, now I knew this is our time. We can go in with our Golem push. He's gonna have Tesla back, but it's not Evo Tesla, so we should be okay here. Also, that was pretty insane right there. Mini P.E.K.K.A hit the Evo MK midair. Out of all things this guy decides to do, he plays a Hog Rider into the Mini P.E.K.K.A. So now we don't have to worry about a Hog Rider in the other lane when we go for our Golem push here. He's also gonna have to defend this machine here. Let's see if he chooses the Knight this time. He does, okay. And we have cycled back to Vines for the Evo Firecracker if we do see it at any point here. But yeah, he has no Evo MK. This Golem is likely to get a connection on the tower here. I can't really play aggressive minions here because he has arrows. And there's the Evo Firecracker, so we can just get a Vines on that, get that out of here. And in a second here, we're going to have Speedy Golem running towards the tower. We got a Speedy mini P.E.K.K.A as well, which I could have saved because at any point he could just go Hog Rider opposite lane, but he is overspending here on defense. Our Evo Witch is very healthy here, and he doesn't have much unless he saves up for an Evo MK. So yeah, that witch is just going to get a connection on the tower. What does he decide to do? And boom, there it is. Evo MK is off the board, which means our golem has free reign to get to the tower once again. He did defend pretty well last time, but he overspent a lot. And we're going to have a pretty oppressive push up here next. Baby Dragon is on the tower. We decide to use the vines to just give us some extra time to get some hits on the tower there. Because of the vines, we get some rockets on the tower there. Yeah, now he doesn't have his Tesla in his hand. He doesn't have Evo MK. So yeah, he decides to play Firecracker. We don't have vines for that, but Evo Baby Dragon is going to get on the tower. And that is pretty much a GG right there because Golem Knights are going to be on the tower. Our Evo Witch is full health. He does have MK, but yeah, it's not enough. Another MK Hog deck down. And just when you thought it was over, in the very next game, we are matched up against a Bridge Spam deck. But with a surprise. Another day, another round of nonsense. We're kind of just waiting here. Either if he plays a card first or we wait for our pancake here. This guy is playing the patient game, but it's gonna hurt him in the long run. At this point, my pancake is up, so I decide to cycle here. And we do get timing because he plays the witch in the other lane the exact moment I decide to drop my baby dragon. But it's fine because we just need to get to the evos here. So I see witch, I see e-wiz. I still have no idea what this deck is about to be. But yeah, you can see he's running an MK with witch, Evo Xe, and e-wiz, which is very odd. And of course, his win condition is just Evo Battle Ram. And of course, this guy just decides to go Mega Knight at the bridge. Big surprise there, but the jump scare. This guy has Goblin Barrel too. Like, what in the nonsense am I playing right now? And he's playing hyper aggressive here, so we're just gonna get the vines clean up here. Just sweep up everything. Everything is dead. So yeah, now I knew for sure this guy's playing some type of nonsense. I have no idea what. It could be a hog, it could be anything. It could be E-Giant at this point. But he has Evo Battle Ram and Goblin Barrel here. So yeah, it's just full nonsense. And keep in mind, we're only a few games away from UC, so playing nonsense this close is very odd. We decide to just cycle our goblin machine in the back here with the pancake. So yeah, at this point I'm thinking MK Goblin Barrel. Okay, but little did I know I had yet to know that this guy still has a sneaky battle ram in the deck. I decided to set up for a golem push here with this counter push. We could use the golem to tank the hits from the E-Wiz and the witch and just build up our push. At this point, I didn't know what he was going to do. Maybe I was expecting an Evo MK at the bridge, but no, he decides to play defensive here, but that golem is still gonna get on the tower, and then we see the random Skarmy right there, and the mini P.E.K.K.A is still alive here, so it's gonna get some great damage on the MK right there and completely take it out. That Evo Executioner is saving him a lot, but we're still on the tower with the baby dragon here. Yeah, and that is pretty much a wrap there. Baby Dragon gets that parting hit, and then finally out of nowhere this guy just places the battle ram, and I'm like, what? Huh? And I forgot he had the goblin barrel as well. So yeah, just full nonsense right here. And this guy bridges another executioner. Like, yeah, this was over. We could have just cycled vines on the tower, but yeah, it's pretty much done. I think he gave up right here. Nope, he didn't. He just was saving up for MK, yeah. And there's another nonsense MK deck out of the way. And this was it right here. This was our UC game. And look at what we're up against. Golem. Pretty fitting we're up against Golem for our UC game, but of course they are running the Lumberjack variant with Healer, which is very interesting. No Chef as well. So yeah, this is just going to be the stare down in the beginning here. Who's going to play first? Is this guy going to let me get the pancake, or is he going to play something? Let's see here. But I decided to go for a risky play here. I just cycled Bar Barrel, yeah. If I played any other deck, this would have been a disaster, but we're playing against a golem, so we kind of lucked out there. Okay, so we lured out the lumberjack, so at this point I'm thinking lumberloon, but then I see the healer and I'm like, okay, this is either going to be some E-Golem deck or it's going to be Golem. And yeah, look at that. He has Evo E-Drag as well, which is very scary because it's just going to chain on the witch and it could shut down our entire push if we don't take care of it properly. And we don't have that many spells against it. So yeah, we're just going to have to get a nice vines on it and then take it out. We get an early vines here to maybe get some tower damage, but we still aren't able to take out that E-Drag there, but we're able to clean up anyways. We just don't get any tower damage. I did not want to play Golem because he could be playing E-Golem. He could just rush the other lane, but there he goes, Golem in the back. So at this point, I know what the deal is here. Evo E-Drag, he's going to Tornado. He's going to place Evo Lumberjack behind the Golem, and that's his push, which will be very dependent on if I could take out the Evo E-Drag or not. But we kind of have a bit of an advantage here. We're playing on our side. He goes for the healer, which is very annoying. It's going to heal up that Night Witch. But the minions should be able to take the Night Witch out at least. Is it? Oh wow, the Golem's kind of just saving the Night Witch right there, pushing it back. But yeah, now we have sort of a counter push here, but I think I just let this go and decide to just save up for the next Golem push. He does have his Evo E-Drag ready, so I do have to keep in mind of that. And he decides to bridge it here, which is honestly a sell, because we could just vines it right here and take it out with the witch. He goes for the tornado, but we're able to take it out in time there. Now we have double Goblin Machine at the bridge for pressure. He goes for our vines, but that's just not going to do enough. We go in with the minions because he just used vines, and yeah, that's tower down. So yeah, he sold pretty hard there by bridging that Evo E-Drag. That was like his one win condition against us because that could destroy our entire push. Yeah, he only has 25 seconds here. He says good game, he knows it's over. There's a chance he could be baiting, so I did decide to play it safe. And yeah, he does go for the vines there to try and kill that witch in hopes of getting Evo Lumberjack to the tower. And yeah, and that's a GG. Even if he takes that tower, we have our Golem on the other tower. And yeah, that was our UC game. A perfect script playing against Golem for our last game here. And yeah, that was our final push to UC for this season. Next time I'll make sure to get the games live. But yeah, the season before this, I didn't really decide to push because it was such an annoying meta with Spirit Empress, Infernus, and Goblin Giant P.E.K.K.A. But this season, we went for the push and we did get our UC placement lower than last time. That's my fault for playing an underleveled Bar Barrel early on in Royal Champ. But there it is, UC hit. Yay.